What's up, guys? We're gonna give it a minute. Let people join. I should have Resilient Suppressors on as our guest next week. This week is just going to be me. It's very hard to have someone on every other week to get people to commit every single week to an interview. So next week, Tyler, he's finishing up with, he's been taking some night classes. He's going to come on. Maybe Bradley, his business partner for Resilient, is going to come on. So that'll be next, what's that, Friday? Next Friday when we do this. So this weekend should be a nice light live stream, unless you guys have a lot you want to talk about. I almost was going to skip this week's live stream, actually. But I figured, I would at least make the attempt because, you never know what you guys want to talk about and such. I want to basically just touch on what we did this week and then answer any of you guys' questions, whether it's related to what we did this week or, whatever else you just want to ask. So, yeah. So this week, hey, Chris, and hey, Skinnerloaf Hodgkinson. That's a hell of a name. What's up, Clint? I'm glad you made one of these. I know you're always trying to make them, but don't always get to. Jack, always nice to see you here every single live stream, buddy. I appreciate that. And Chris from Suppress Nation, what's up, brother? How's the weather over there on the East Coast? Hope it's good. It's been a little bit weird here, man. We're in monsoon season, so it's weird. Chris would like to say he really enjoyed OCL on here. You know what? It's so fun, actually, even as just the host. I had a great time. Like, I always have a great time with you guys, sitting down and talking with you all. I actually enjoy this probably more than anything, and that's why I've been trying to do them more and more. But, yeah, having Andrew and a guest in general seems to be, like, a really good time. We can all pretty much, we can really get somewhere just by having a conversation. And you guys get a little bit of background info that maybe you wouldn't be able to get. So next week, I've already confirmed it just actually a few minutes ago. Resilient Suppressors will be our Friday guest next week. So mark it on the calendar. I don't know if Bradley will get on as well and we'll do a three-way again or not. I'm going to have headphones this time around. I know my audio, and we got like some echoes and stuff going on, and we learn something new every time, just like on the Patreon. As I think Chris pointed out today in the Discord, I started out with paper and sticks and stones, and I've slowly moved up in the world. Okay, so I'm trying my best. This year, I think we've made a lot of good progress on just the quality of everything we're doing, our videos, the layouts, the formats, how we're presenting it. I could dress it up a lot more, but frankly, I think people forget I have a full-time job that works about 60 hours a week, so I literally put almost every single waking moment I have that isn't at work into this. So, if I don't make a graph as perfectly pretty as someone might like it, it's literally because, I'm just trying to get it to present the data. You know what I mean? So, that said, what did we do this week? So this week started off with the new ranking video we did. So we added, Nomad L, the Hyperion, and the non-vented version of the dual angle pocket cone can, which we just looked at today with venting. Pretty good results, how everything lined up. I was looking actually this week, I was talking with Andrew actually, and he sent me a thing showing, where the Pew results were for Nomad and Hyperion and such currently in a ranking order on 300 Blackout. and I went and I put it side by side, our ranking at ear. And it very much so correlates, especially when you factor in polonium and our dual angle pocket cone can non-vented, because that's basically the exact same cone as a polonium. They've changed up some of the geometry a little bit. Of course, it's a little bit bigger can as well, and it's a little bit more cones, but very, very similar overall. So as we collect more and more data, it's interesting to see that we do get some correlation. Obviously, peak dB is not everything. I completely get that. I know that. I'm personally working on cracking the code on all of that. Not just me, but a few of us actually have been working pretty hard at it, and we've got it pretty well figured out. So I don't know where it's going to lead us to. I'm not trying to compete with anyone, of course, but I just, like always, I've just wanted to try to make the data as best as possible. So, and that brings me into a lot of, I'm still getting so many times people asking about, things we've removed and such. While we did remove things, a lot of things, and a lot of it was because of everything going on with the ATF and advice and things, and look, hindsight being 2020, maybe that all wasn't the best thing we could have done. I get that completely. I have regrets on that front, but there's a lot of it that I couldn't just go put a disclaimer on, for instance, because I didn't have the original files anymore. They were only on the YouTube. There was, a lot of stuff that, frankly, I didn't want it to be public anymore. I get that, it was all, something we've done together. But I mean, stuff that was only, peak muzzle, for instance, or before we were doing good graphs, or just a lot of different things. Like, I want to present things that are actually relevant and to date. So hopefully anyone who's managed to stick with me the last 4 to 6 months has seen some progression. It still might not be where you personally would like to see it, but I think you got to at least give me some credit because we are progressing. So what else did we do? So we got our ranking. We saw where Nomad L fell. Very interesting to see it a little bit lower there on 300 Blackout, right? Very much so due to the design of that can. It's really going to work best on that higher pressure stuff like 308, higher gas volume stuff. It's funny because I see, on like the Facebook groups and stuff, people recommending cans to people. And a lot of people, they're going to recommend the can that they like. The can they've heard other people talk about. That's fine, But sometimes, their experience is on a specific caliber, but then they blanket recommend other calibers. So while I might, for the most part, I try to recommend the cans I think for people are really going to be the best fit for whatever they're doing, whether it's a DDC can or, someone else from a group, or even CGS, because CGS, no matter what, the little bit of drama that's been going on this week, they make good products, okay? So anyone else who comes along who makes something that's good, there's no reason, like, I really hate the narrow mindset that you can be involved with a company or work with a company, but only ever recommend those companies' cans, for example, because it's not always the best fit. I like to try to recommend, 2 to 3 options when I do. And at the end of the day, they're opinions, but they're, I believe them to be informed opinions. So that was Tuesday. We saw Hyperion come very high on 300 Blackout. It did very well, of course, on 308, which we know of, but Nomad still seemed to beat it. I've been shooting my Nomad L actually quite a bit on some of my bolt guns. It's been a bit of a go-to next to the Enticer. At some point, we're going to do the Enticer as well, because I want that block of known good, really good cans to then have with our Form 1s and stuff, right? So I want just like the best mix-up as possible. Now, one thing I do want to run by you guys here while I have you all here is that I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been trying to mix it up, going from, say, a Form 4 rifle can, maybe a Form 1 or a Form 4 pistol caliber can, then, like a Form 1 kind of deal, and then, you know, circle back around. I still need to try to get some more mounts in. I need to at least get Xeno done, and now dual lock. But you know, there's only so much, unfortunately, time in a week. I also will have some 22 content I really, really want to film and get done for you guys, some tests. We're kind of lacking in that area, especially since we got rid of the JK modular can. Why? Kits are a gray area, so it just seemed like a be safe or sorry type of a thing. But anyway, the thing I wanted to run by you guys while I have all of you here, and maybe you guys can comment below if this is, you know, the thought process or not. But I've got we just did Obsidian not very long ago, right? Which, by the way, after about a month, Rugged finally sending me an end cap. They said that my contact information wasn't good. I have a hard time believing that when I contacted them 3 times, but whatever. Regardless, an end cap is coming. But we've got RS9 and RSP, right? And you guys have probably seen, I've made a couple posts saying, you know, okay, you know, I've been shooting RS9, RSP. Long story short, at the bare minimum, I need to get RSP out. I would like to get it out in the next 2 weeks. That said, because you guys, I mean, it's pretty cool freaking can, and you guys are gonna love what's inside of it. If you haven't already seen posts on Resilient and stuff, it's very interesting. Kind of flies in the face of a lot of the typical Form 1 recommendations, okay, and even some of my own. But I think it only makes sense to test the RSP if we have Mod 9 data. And if you guys aren't familiar, for who are not on the channel, we test every can against a control can. So for 9mm, it's called the Pocket Cone Berry Tip Can. So as of right now, we don't have that data. And I could do kind of both at the same time or whatnot, but it gets a little bit funky trying to really cover the can properly, because we want to do the tabletop, the modeling, you know, really show you what's inside and how it all works and stuff. So to do it right and not half-ass it, I would really like to probably do the Mod 9 next week, followed by the RSP the week after, if possible. Or I might try to do them both next week and really cram it all in, but I'm not 100% sure I can pull it off just with my work schedule and the fact I have to work freaking tomorrow. It sucks. But you guys tell me. I know that's a lot of 9mm in a short period of time, 1 to 2 weeks. And I know you guys like to see things get changed up. So I don't want to do something that's going to piss a bunch of people off. But if you guys are down so we can get these out of the way, once we do, literally, we can pretty much put a kibosh on 9 for a while, other than probably doing the RS9 at some point, and maybe a couple other carbine things here and there, and then get back to focusing on some rifle stuff, and then 22 stuff, and hopefully like some mount stuff and flash stuff. There's currently a flash video I uploaded, I want to say a week or 2 ago, for the $25 crowd. I'll probably make that a $10 video here pretty soon. And for those who are familiar, why does the channel charge people instead of whatever? That is because we wanted, I mean, yeah, if you've been with me literally from the beginning, which was like 2 years ago, we wanted to be able to test, you know, things kind of related to our community, Form 1 stuff. And B, almost every single other entity that tests stuff out there takes money of some sort from places, and so this is like peer funded and peer funded only, and that's the point. You know, so some people agree with that model, some people don't. You know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get to your questions, and then a random question: do I like Legos? Yeah, man, I like Legos. I like Legos a lot, actually. Right now we've got a big VW Volkswagen if you guys are familiar with like the buses, especially the older ones with the where they've got the rollback soft top roof and things of that nature. But we've got one of those at work for sale, and I'm waiting for it to get not sold basically, because when things get to a 12-month point of they haven't moved or at least sold a quantity of one, we have to get rid of them. So we have to still pay for them, but if it gets to that point, I'm probably gonna take it home. So my brother for Christmas got the giant Roman Colosseum. I think it was like $700. Just fantastic. It's probably the coolest Lego thing I've ever seen. I need to learn how to do computer layouts and get away from carving on the cave walls. You know, a lot of people talk shit about if your images or whatever aren't like high tech looking or, you know, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just really about the information that they're trying to portray. You know, so can we get some 300 blackout stuff? So I was hitting 300 blackout there pretty hard with all the ammo stuff and all of that nature. I've got, I don't know if you saw, but I did a post recently, so I'm waiting on a subs can, basically. Now, it's technically a subs can, at least from design, but it's actually probably going to work out really freaking well on everything, I have a feeling. But it's a big old 10-inch can. It's going to have a Reardon Atlas XL, so it's like 11 inches. This thing's honking long. It's going to have a mix of single-step 50s in the proximal. It's going to have our high gas capture storage cones like we're just working with in kind of the center, and then switch to a radial. Oh, you meant supers? Oh, okay. What exactly on supers do you want to see? Just some of the cans on supers in general? Absolutely, we can do that. So that's part of why we have our ranking system as well. It gets very difficult from a time perspective, to shoot 4 things on 2 cans. You would be very surprised probably at how long it takes to do what we do, even, you know, correctly, just the base footage. So like the data we were getting on like the 300 blackout supers didn't really tell us too much more than what all the other 3 were really already telling us about the can. So what I wanted to do, same with 762x39, was break that out. And then when we get our ranking cans, right? So we say we got 10 cans, I think, right now on the ranking. Cherry pick a few that you guys want to see, and then go back and do those ones on 300 blackout supers. 762x39, 6.5 Creedmoor. We now have the 6 arc as well, by the way. So we're about to have a 12.5-inch mid-length gas system 5.56 as well. We've got the 18-inch 5.56 we can use. We've got access to a lot of other things as well. So at the end of the day, feedback's what I need, or I don't know which cans you're really looking to see. We could pick, you know, the top 2 cans and maybe the bottom 2 cans, or a top 1 can and maybe a middle can and a bottom can. I mean, again, I'm totally open to what you guys want to see on that front, so please just below let me know. And yeah, we can do it for sure. I mean, there's no problem. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do, you know. Skiller Cruz, what's up, buddy? You know, it's Friday. I had a really weird day today, man. I had like a real case of like the weekends or something. Even though I'm not getting a weekend this weekend, but not that I really get a weekend any weekend, but yeah, man, it was counting down the clock. I just felt like I was off my game all day today. You know, when you just kind of feel off, it was that kind of day. So I was very much so watching the clock most of the day today. How about you? Hopefully you're doing good too. I'm interested in hearing about venting variation results on 5.56, i.e. results between number size and placement events, and where do they best in stack. Well, hopefully Shakedown Sheets watched the video today, because that's exactly what we just did. We've had a whole series of videos, I want to say 5 or 6 or maybe even 7, going from starting off with a fully vented can, 1/8-inch vents through the entire stack, to a can that has non-vented first and last cone, to then a can that's also using the high gas capture storage style of cone with no vents at all, since we kind of had skipped that data set. And then that has then led to this week's can, which was selective venting. Now, where I placed my vents was like 50% strategic and 50% not strategic as far as where they were on that physical cone. I was very limited on where we could put them. I went over that, I believe, in Wednesday's video. So watch Wednesday's video. That's what's really going to go into why I vented, where I vented, and how I vented. And then, of course, today's video was the actual metering of the can. Not to spoil it, but we finally have a new first place 556 can. So I'm fucking thrilled about that, by the way. I really want to go back now and shoot it with a 556 end cap and see what else we can squeeze out of it. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing I want to do now is I probably want to build a new 556 dedicated 556 can and use our selective venting. And then I want to be able to do it on a cone that's a little bit different, where I can put the vent where I really like to put the vent instead of where I did put the vent. I would much rather put the vent on the pocket portion on the wall, so that way it's venting right into where the clip opening is on the next cone. So that way we're getting that harmonious relationship there between those two. So now that we've got some data here and we finally kind of have a bit of a breakthrough here, it really opens up the fucking door, okay? Because now we can go back and we can look at pistol stuff, which I've done vented pistol stuff. If you guys remember it's like a radial, I forget what we even coined that fucking thing. That's probably the most saddest can that I miss, but it's like a radial, right? So it's got a curved cone, and then underneath it has a coaxial area, okay? And I found that like a 50-50 back in the day venting scheme on those worked really fucking well, and that was before knowing a lot of the things we know now. So man, I really wish I had that can. But that said, I want to go back and now apply this to a few more cans. Also, the mushroom can, my carbine mushroom can, that thing's neat as shit, right? Well, that has now gotten a little bit different venting, as well as the clips, the scoops in them are a lot bigger and a lot deeper and just a lot better well made than how it was before. Really looking forward to shooting that thing as well. I think that with a 5.56 bore could really be the ticket. I've drawn up a few prototype cans that I have not yet had made. I don't know if they will get made or not, because they are a little bit more complex to make. And then because you're talking about so many cones, you do start running into weight, when you're looking at 17.4, and you can't really skimp on 5.56 cans, unfortunately. But yeah, so this whole series of videos, I know it was long, I know it took a long time, but I do really feel like it's opened up a door now that we can really go down. Now, I'll say that I already kind of ahead of time knew where things were going to pan out, just basing off things I've done personally before, and the things that others have done and told me, whatever. But we hadn't done it in a way that was with you guys. So, yeah. So like Chris just said, the weep hole in line with the clip was a good idea. I love the memes. So I would take that now even further, and I would put it where it's not just in line with the clip, but where it's venting directly into the opening of the next cone. So you would probably static space at that point, or play around with something like that. So that's something actually me and Andrew have been going back and forth on. You guys might have seen a post he made on Instagram just this week, because it ended up, and this was by pure coincidence. This wasn't coordinated at all, but it ended up that he's been kind of trying to improve upon his design as well. via some venting, and he's getting good results too. It's funny though because he tried to tell me, oh, by the way, I really found that not venting the first cone or the last cone works really well. And I'm like, brother, I'm way ahead of you on that. You know, go now and try this. You know, so. Friday cocktail. All right, so what did I miss here in your guys' questions? I was thinking more like layout spacing. Oh, okay. So you're talking about Jack. I'm sorry. So you're talking more about the theoretical side, you know, or the building side for 300 blackout supers. I get that. The thing about that though is, it's honestly not that much different than. It really is like, if you go watch all of our ammo videos, for example, we did all of our 300 blackout super ammos videos, and what do we find when we do that? We find that there's a big variation across manufactured ammos. Some use a slower burning powder versus a faster burning powder, and the ones with slower burning powders, they are going to act and be made more in line with like a 5.56 can, okay? Because you're getting kind of the same thing happening. You're getting not full burn, even though you're still getting a better burn than 5.56 for sure. And you're looking at kind of, you know, keeping back pressure in line with bolt timing to a minimum, right? Delaying that clamping going on, that gas clamping going on. But then when you cycle over to a faster burning powder like we're using, or like the Aguila 150s we're using, now you start having a little bit more freedom of design because you're not having to adjust your can around that, right? So even then though, you can still get less aggressive than 5.56. So like 5.56, if you're not using a coaxial design with a bypass around the blast baffle, or if you're not using a diff wall, then you're certainly typically going to benefit from a larger blast chamber. That's how things seem to work. Where 300 blackout supers, even with the slower burning powders, you can get. I don't think you really need to go even like to that 5.56 level of blast chamber. That 2.5-ish inch area should be perfectly fine. At the end of the day, we want the smallest blast chamber we can get away with for whatever we're shooting, because then that gives us room for what? More cones. That gives us room for more space between cones when we need it, and things of that nature. So, I mean, that's the beauty of the designs, the coaxial designs, right? You can really start to tweak and reclaim some of that real estate. That's the beauty of reflex suppressors, right? So it's not so much about the outer diameter. I mean, that does absolutely play a part, but some of it just has to do with giving that jet of gas coming out of the muzzle enough time to start delaminating from itself, okay? So really your blast chamber is just a big pressure dump, and that's pretty much it. It's not doing quite a bit more than that. So it's really not till like cone number 3 that the stack is really starting to have more of an effect on. We've looked at a bunch of different modeling and things of that nature. If you're familiar with what ANSYS software is, super fucking expensive, but luckily, you know, we've been able to get access to some of that kind of stuff, and it's kind of eye-opening. I wish there were some things I could show you, but it's not mine to show, so I can't. But you know, all pretty cool. So to kind of finalize, 300 blackout supers, if you're not hand loading, I mean, that's honestly where our current kind of that 2.25 to 2.5 DC really falls in. You can go down to 2, absolutely. I would say the 2 1/4 is probably going to be the sweet spot for a dedicated 300 blackout supers can. I don't think you need to go bigger than that like you do on something like 5.56. And that's the whole thing. So our 2.5-inch blast chamber we like to use in our cans. It's kind of a one size fits all, right? It's not necessarily the best for everything. Same with our clips, like our clip charts and stuff. A lot of people get those confused. They're not a one size fits all. You can't just go, I'm shooting 300 blackout today and this is my clip size. Like every cone and every chamber and every can is going to be different, or even where in the can. So trying to figure those things out, though, I mean, yeah, that's going to be really hard if you're not doing week after week R&D on one single can design. So you do the best you can as a Form 1er. You make the most intelligent decisions based off what you think and what you've done in the past. I would say most of us, especially in the past, were clipping too small. But it is what it is. I mean, that's the whole point. We're learning, right? So, I hadn't watched the video. Yeah, so yeah, go watch that video today. How's the Diligent Defense 5.56 can coming along? Not that well, actually. We've just been really slow. I don't know if you guys know this, but DDC, we moved the facility. So that's been the main focus. Bought a big, what's that, like the mobile office things, kind of like the shipping container office type deals. Bought one of those as well. So getting moved and getting things all, whatever has been probably the biggest focus. There's also the 8.6 black can that's in production, as well as a 22 can that's in production. So kind of almost too many directions right now where we're not fucking laser focused on one thing. The 5.56 can, we're trying to keep it simple. We're not trying to get like crazy enticer level and size. Now, that said, you guys have probably seen an x-ray of the enticer that's been floating around. Inside the enticer, it's really not that complex of a can. It's just everything's being applied really well. There's a lot you can do even with a basic cone can. There can be pretty wide differences, even like with just one cone design can, if you're not getting the spacing right or the clipping right, or in doing these things. You'd be very surprised at how much of a change dialing in one can is. Okay, so for the 5.56 can, we all know on this channel how different 5.56 behaves. So there's kind of two schools of thought here. You can either go and really do a complex design, all right, where you're basically routing gas in front of the bullet in 1 to 2 different spots, or doing what OSS, aka Huxworks, is doing, which the new Huxworks can is really freaking cool. Works really well, actually. And then the third school of thought is, okay, if you're not down to do those things, and then really design a normal kind of, and I say normal, what I mean is just a standard conical cone like we use in the vast majority of our cans, but really put in the actual effort to get it good. All the different conical cone cans out there for 5.56 are pretty much just 5.56 board cans from what they previously put out. Look at the new rugged can. Look at Sierra 5. I would say the Sierra 5, for example, using just a normal 3-facet cone like Milf Hunter uses for the most part, they've changed the dimensions up a little bit, is getting actually really pretty good results, right? Now, before Sierra 5 came out, we were already messing with some triangle stuff, okay? We've probably changed the cone 4 different ways, just going from different proportions, And even that has had a widespread of performance differences. Okay, so there's like part of it where we're like, okay, do we want to like just like keep the baffle simple to machine and the can to make, but have it really be dialed in and still beat most people or everyone if that's possible? Or do we want to try to really design something literally ground up, really revolutionary? And of course, we'd love to do that, but if we can do it the other way, that would be better, especially as a new young company, right? If we can make cans initially that do really well across the board and get our foot in the door, well, then that allows us, now that those cans are done, designed, and out in the world, to then go back and really dig deep into some stuff. You know what I mean? So, the other thing, like with Enticer, we've already done some things and we have a better Enticer. We're not sure that we want to put that out there because literally people just got their Enticers, right? The Enticer hasn't even been out that long. And in its current form, it does great versus pretty much everything out there. It's going to get beat, I guarantee it. Without getting into too much details, there are absolutely companies right now doing some stuff. So, and then when it does, we'll roll out the next design, But we don't really want to be that company that rolls out a different can every 6 months that's the same, caliber or whatever. So the goal is to get the 8.6 can done, get the 22 can done, get the 5.56 can done. Probably not going to fuck with 9mm anytime soon, especially the RSP is so badass, yet so simple. Don't really need to. You've already got Andrew and Tyler doing lots of stuff on the 9mm front. So, and then we'll go from there. So that's the plan. You played with the AB cans. Yes, we have, what the hell model is it? I can't think of the model. So far, like, underwhelming, I guess would be the word I would use. Like, compared to, again, things like Enticer and such. It was funny, actually, because this came up just this week as well. I was on Facebook on, I want to say, Suppressor Enthusiast, and someone was talking about the AB Little Bird, their 22 can, the one that's got threads all the way through, and you can adjust the baffles and such. And they were talking about just how great this can was, right? And everyone has different opinions of every single can. And it was funny because I haven't shot that can yet. So I was in our group chat, and I was like, has every of you guys fucked with the AB Little Bird 22 can yet? And I guess Tyler has one, and Bradley as well. And both of them were like, bro, it's the mask fucking destroys it. And then you've got Liberty Precision Spark, which beats the mask. So how can I silence my wife? Probably get a divorce. Though that probably wouldn't silence her either, because then she'd take your ass to court. I don't know. The only sure way to silence your wife, I don't even know that I want to say that out loud. Jack says, give her your credit card, dude. Yep. Give her oh, yeah, I forgot I can do this. I can select your guys' your comments. Isn't this pretty cool? This software is really amazing. I've been learning more and more about how to use it. It wasn't cheap, but it's fucking amazing. So Greg here says, you play with Rex or rugged cans? Yeah, definitely have played with rugged cans. I haven't shot any of the Rex cans myself. Brandon and Ryan shot and picked up a Rex can. Now, to my understanding, they've changed the insides a couple times. So I actually just seen I think I saw a post just today from Holtworks, and he said something to that effect of, I just sent my 3 blown up Rex cans, and he had contributed them all to user error of one degree or another, to Rex, and now they have the updated baffle design. I have no idea what that updated baffle design is. I don't believe it's anything more than still sticking with the radial that they've been using for a long time and probably just tweaking dimensions. Now, they've always ported their cones in those, so maybe they've gotten to a more selective venting scheme. But from what I hear and from how they metered for us, underimpressed. A lot of better options out there. But I get it. They look really pretty, but Enticer looks prettier. I get that they're very affordable. I get that you can go and you can do lots of kind of customizations, which I think is probably maybe the biggest selling point. I think that's really cool that they do that. It would just be, if it was just a better, sounding can in general, it'd probably be, a win-win for everybody. But, the fact you can go and I think you can select how many baffles you want. You can select all kinds of different things about different bore sizes and such. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's really, really cool. I would love to get to that point someday. Don't know, that'll happen. Every business revolves around what? Money. Money has to come in because money is always flowing out. Even the Patreon, money is always flowing out, Everyone thinks there's like piles of it coming in, and just taxes this year alone pretty much wiped out all the savings from last year. So, whew. DDC-556 can you shoot 6mm arc in it? Yeah. So that's the other thing I'm working on, by the way. Been a lot of confusion about what you can shoot through, like the Enticer, for example. I'll see posts on the internet like, oh, bro, but it's only rated for 10.5 inches and what. The reality is, I mean, hell, Andrew just shot the Enticer on his 5-inch, or no, what's that, 4.75 inch 5.56 machine gun with an Enticer. I mean, the blast baffle had a little bit of typical peening from what, like kind of what happens on most 17.4, unless you are really getting pretty crazy with the baffle design or doing a reverse baffle or things of that nature. But short of that, no failures of any type or anything. So, I mean, there's no reason that we couldn't rate the Enticer for a lot heavier use. So, I've got the manuals, and I just got them this week, the files, so I can start going through them and trying to write up better warranty parameters. I was looking at Huxworks, actually, when I was doing that live stream the other day with you guys, where we looked at what was inside the new Huxworks can. So if you missed that, check it out. Pretty cool. I'm like 96% certain I'm the only one who even has the images I have. Well, I would love to have even more. We have enough to pretty much know what's going on. But anyway, my point is they did it really cool, actually. They gave you some multiple scenarios. They gave you some surge cycle stuff and things of that nature to kind of help better give you an idea. The other flip side of this too is I think a lot of people sometimes they read like what the can is warranted for, and take it as like this kind of set in stone, like if you have a 10.5 and you suddenly shoot a 10, it's gonna blow up or something. Like no, that's not how things work. Most of the time the warranty parameters are very, very conservative. And then other companies take the opposite approach and they do the whole no barrel restrictions, full auto, do whatever you want thing. And then and then they hope for the best, So it depends. It just depends. There's really no way to please everyone nor cover every scenario, right? it's really hard to go, okay, you know, at this caliber, 30 different, God, how many cartridges are out there in the world at this point? So it's a guide. It's more like any warranty suggestions are a guide more than like a hard line in the sand. And I mean, you shouldn't do this, but at the end of the day, no one's going to know what you blew your can up on other than you. For the most part, there can be signs of things, but So, just be responsible with your suppressors, and yeah. We're not gonna run too tight of a bore though to run 6 arc. At least that's not in the plans at the moment. Things could always change. Again, we're still in the prototyping phase, but I'm thinking about a reflex 30 cal can. That's kind of where my interest is at, but we'll see. Chris would like to say he is very unimpressed with the Rex cans in general. So there you go. There's another person with an opinion. Greg would like to ask, where can I find out more about the Enticer? I'm not familiar. So you can, of course, hit the website. We're going to do a review on the Patreon here pretty soon, hopefully. Probably 3 weeks if everything goes right. At least that's where I have it on the schedule currently. Pew Science did their review of it, so that's going to be more base specs, and then, we call it how it sounds, but it's about auditory risk. Who else? I mean, there are other people on YouTube who've done some stuff. There are, random people who own the cans, personally own the cans, and have put, information out there about them. So, just like anything, you're just going to kind of have to do a little bit of Googling for the moment. Liberty, their cans, they don't make an L can at the moment, but their S can, fantastic can as well. So that's another thing. If you're in the S market, I would say right now for S cans, you're looking at Liberty and the Enticer as well, and the S can class as well for some of the absolutely best cans out there right now. So, yep, and there you go. Chris said, check them out on Pew Science. So, Liberty Precision, Anthem K, and S are the only ones. Excuse me. You should look at Epic cans. So yeah, I mean they really are actually. The S is just pretty freaking phenomenal. It's a touch smaller in length than the Enticer. Enticer is 1.625 versus Liberty is 1.75. I think we're at 6.75 inches on the S, and I think Riley's at 6.5. So about a quarter of an inch shorter on the Liberty. So, they're a little bit shorter, but they're fatter. We're a touch longer, but we're skinnier, type of thing. Suppression was very close together, but Liberty did, on the S can, take it by... Chris probably knows it off the top of his head. I bet you can comment it below. He probably remembers, but I think it was like... If we're going off composite score, I think it was like 1, which I'm not a huge fan of composite score. But I don't know, everyone's a little bit different on what and how they will evaluate what's best from a suppression standpoint. So, yeah. What else? I don't know if you guys saw, but Resilient did their big old Putnik this week. Big old monstrous can. I think he threw up an open source picture on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Pretty cool. I mean, it's a super big. It's modeled after. Here, I'll put it up here. I didn't say the only ones to look at. I said also ones you should look at. LOL. Yeah, my bad if I read it wrong. I'm sorry. You and I kind of butt heads a lot. It's interesting. Sometimes I wonder if I like kicked your dog or something. But everyone's different. But anyway, I want to say I forget which of the communist cans that they were going after there on that. I'm not really into the Russian suppressors thing. So it's funny, Chris. Now I want to address this real quick because we debated this in our own group the other day. For me, the Enticer would be a Bolty Boy can, where the Anthem SRK would be great for a gas toast. So one, I totally agree, because the Anthem is going to have some venting and things going on there. But that said, if you actually know Riley, the designer of the Anthem, he's huge into bolt guns. So if he saw this come out right now, he'd probably have some very witty response, and it just makes me smile and laugh. He puts so much. I really want to give him a pat on the back, though. I can't speak enough highly of how much effort they put in, or he put into designing and testing that can. I don't even know the exact number. I don't think he'll know the exact number, but he put a ton of different variations into that can to get it where it's at. So kudos to him. Anyone who puts that much effort in the R&D of just a single suppressor for sure deserves a pat on the back. Did the same thing with the Spark, and that's why the Spark's such a good can. And it really goes to show that if you've got the resources, there are still improvements out there to be made. Let's see if there's anything that is relevant to what we're doing. Yeah, there you go. Riley, sell me the Anthem design. That's funny. So anyway, there was something else I was going to answer until I got distracted by Chris. And now I don't remember what it was. Shit. Huh. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm very tempted too, by the way, to recore the dual angle pocket cone vented can now and stick probably 3 to 4 pocket radials in the distal end. They would be non-vented, and then probably change maybe 2 of the first cones out to either like a single step 50 or even just a regular 50-degree kind of cone, and rerun that, because I really think even with the results we got today that there's quite a bit more to squeeze out of that guy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I got a bunch of different little designs in my head right now that I think would be fun to have on the channel. Oh, I was talking about Putnik. There you go. So yeah, let me find the new Putnik information. Let's try Instagram, though. I know where it's at on Facebook, but Instagram's probably going to be easier. Facebook's such a bear to fucking search sometimes. Resilient. Okay, yeah, there she is. Two seconds, bear with me. We'll put it on the screen here. Share screen, Chrome tab. We want Insta. Voila, there she is. So this is the Putnik. Resilient Suppressor Sputnik. I forget what the diameter is on it. It's either 2 or 2 1/4. It's pretty big. I remember when he was trying to source the material from it, he asked literally all of us, like, hey, do you know where we can find anyone who has a decent amount of, X, Y, and Z in stock? Alex says that he helped come up with the name Putnik on their Instagram suggestions poll. I think you did a good job. I mean, it hits the nail on the head. You've got that, I don't know how many of you know this, but Sputnik was the first satellite the Russians put up into orbit during the space race. So, communist, all that kind of stuff. Like Putnik is just pretty fitting actually, and a little bit funny. And he's probably the first one in America and an American suppressor company to probably like actively target this giant ass design, at least that I'm aware of. I could be totally wrong on that, but it's all good. It's nice that everyone can be developing serious products for everyone, but also have fun with this, right? So let's see if we can play a few things here for you guys. So if you look, it's a triax hybrid baffle design. So triaxial means that kind of like on the OSS where it can go or you think of like say Flow 1.0. Now imagine if, I don't know if you guys remember, but Bam Machine came up with a 175 tube that could take 1355 cones, and I wanted to take that and put like a Flow 1.0 design in it, and then or have a third axis around it all. Never got around to it, but kind of the same thing. So when he's got all that big old tube there to work with, you can do some pretty cool things. And that's probably where the future honestly is. It just is hard on CNC to do a lot of that stuff and keep the weight under control. So as DMLS gets better and better and more accessible, it's still incredibly expensive. Like to have a production DMLS can right now done by one of the main companies that does them for people, like CGS or anyone of that nature, OSS or Huxworks, you're looking at a first order typically of about 5,000 cans. So let's say you're selling a can that's $1,000. Let's say you're selling it to the dealer at $750. You know, and you need to make probably $100 or $200 or hopefully more, you know, even. You're still talking, what, at least $500 a unit at that point. So, I mean, if you're a small company, especially, and you're looking at just a single can at 5,000 units, I mean, that's $2.5 million. If I did that math right. So, there's a barrier to entry, no matter what. And it sounds fantastic, by the way, in 76-2-39. So there you go. You know, you get a little background. I'll pull up a picture now of what it looks like a little bit inside of it, so you kind of have a little bit of an idea. Close out all these windows here I've got. Zillion suppressors. Hopefully he just put it on the main page. Or it might have been a story. Yeah, it was a fucking story. God damn it. Stories are kind of a pain in the ass to go back and find after you watch them once. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can find it. I can probably have him text it to me real quick. I might even have a picture of it on my phone, actually. You guys see the new PWS can, by the way? It totally fucking snagged our 8.6 black can fucking name. Not that it was the name I came up with, but it was the name Brandon really wanted to use. BDE, Big Dick Energy. I'm not sure. No, looks like I didn't say it. Well, I'm sorry. I hadn't planned on talking about it, or I would have been a little bit more organized here. Sputnik is where I got the name from. Yeah, I figured that much. I don't know if you guys know this, but CGS, for example, they name their cans after Greek mythology, basically. So, like, let's see. Helios is the son of Hyperion in Greek mythology. Hyperion is the son of Uranus. and starts with a G. Gianna, G something. Which, by the way, Helios, if you don't know this, tried to fly up close to the sun, and Zeus strikes him down with a lightning bolt. Hecate, same thing. Hecate is a Greek goddess married to... No, not married. What the fuck is it? It's a cool-ass name. Persephone? I forget. It's been a long time since I was in Catholic high school and having to read Homer and the Odyssey, but they name all of their cans after... so Diego, that's exactly why I wanted to say it. I'm like, Hyperion is named after Uranus. It's kind of funny. So, good for them, though. It's very hard to name cans, which, speaking of that, now that we need a new 8.6 black can name, totally open to you guys with some suggestions. Since we were trying to stick with kind of the penis theme earlier. Oh, Chris just texted me. I'm assuming it's going to be a picture for you guys. Yeah, okay. I can share the pictures now because Chris just sent them to me. Thank you, Chris. Alright, so we're going to need Facebook. Oh my god, Pipo. Alright, let's see how well that shows up on your guys' ends. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it looks pretty good. Alright, so there you go. The outer shroud is removed. You can see the spiral venting that is drawing from the blast chamber area. Let's see what else he sent. There's another look at it. So the distal end is really unique. I don't know how well that sizes up for you guys versus what I can see, but it actually has male threads instead of female threads. So the first time he texted me a picture of what he was working on, it was just this body here, and I couldn't see the ports yet, and all I saw was this flange end with the male threads, and I was like, bro, what the fuck are you working on? And that's what it ended up turning out to. So pretty cool. I like this kind of off-the-wall shit. Good on them for doing it. And Chris, thank you for... Everyone give Chris a round of applause. He quickly found those pictures and sent them to me. Sorry, I'm getting a billion fucking text messages right now. Some of them are related to what we're doing, so I don't want to miss anything. Alright, yeah. We're not going to worry about the rest of them, so. Alright, well, I think I'm caught up on questions now. So, what else? I talked about how in the live we did the Huxworks scans. I've been on Reddit a little bit this week. I haven't been on Reddit in literally probably 14 or 15 months. So, I haven't been on forums in general for a while. It just, again, only so much time in the day, and I try to pretty much give all my free time, even my work time. I do a lot of my video editing for you guys during the week. So, a typical week for me is, 6:30 a.m. I'm at work by then. I don't typically get off work till about 5-ish, and I don't really get to take a lunch or anything anymore because of being so short-handed. But, we always have at least a Tuesday and a Friday video, and that's something I've been wanting to keep, as much as possible. Like, that's like my base commitment to you guys, in my mind at least. And then anything we can do above and beyond that is like a bonus, right? So this week we had Tuesday's ranking video. Wednesday we had the tabletop and plans for the DAPC-V can that we just did today. Then we got a little bit of a bonus because the Huxworks stuff, and we got very timely information that I wanted to push out to you guys as fast as possible. So there was a third. And then Friday, we, of course, metered our DAPC-V can versus our LN and went over that data. So there's a 4. So just this week, we've managed to squeeze out 4 videos, double of what's technically, on the books. In a perfect world, I'd love to do even more than that. Of course, would have to be able to do this full time. But anyway, so what do the things look like? So you guys kind of have an idea of what it is that's going on. We'll typically try to spend Saturday either doing video related stuff that doesn't require going out and shooting or has already been shot. So like this Saturday when I get off work, I'll probably work on the research supplement for what the results we just got on this DAPC-V can, right? And try to get that out to you guys by Monday or Tuesday. Sundays are typically the day of testing. Go out, especially now when it's summer and it's really hot, try to be out there no later than 6 a.m. Typically it hits 90 degrees around 9 to 10-ish, sometimes up to 11 if there's cloud cover. So that's really the only window we get to shoot and meter. That amount of time, if you get there at 6 and you leave by, say, 11, only really gets you typically 2 cans, maybe 3. I've been trying to do more in like a 3-can block if I can. It works out a little bit better. But, yeah, I feel you. I'm in Vegas. Yeah, man. I mean, so with the meter and everything and the sun and all that, we don't want to really be out there past about the 90-degree mark. And not only that, but it's also sucks for the person doing the work, right? But for the most part, it's more meter related. I mean, I can always hop in my truck for 5 minutes and cool my fat ass down. But it really, I learned this last year actually, about this time of year with monsoon season. And I suddenly would be out there and I would be testing a couple series of cans, right? Say we're doing 3 cans. And the first 2 cans would have been perfect. And then suddenly you see the data shoot up on that 3rd can. So then I started correlating, well, what was the temperature outside when that happened? And I started realizing that there was a point where if it was too hot, it started changing the sensitivity of the mic and just the electronics in general. And we were getting different results. I could go back and recalibrate for it, right? But then that's not perfect either. Like I really try to control our results as much as I really can. Get them as consistent as I really can. So, yeah. So anyway, my point is, so then Sunday we shoot, and then processing the data actually takes quite a bit of time. You come home, I literally break it into, our 3 categories. So I'll do the 300 blackout data. I'll record it all on my paper charts that I have. I'll edit it all up so that way it makes sense, and but it'll just be the shooting sequence for say 1 caliber, and then I'll do in a separate file the next caliber and the separate file the next caliber. I'll have it all in paper format. Then I'll hop on the computer, pull up Excel, and start trying to transfer it all over one at a time, and then once all that's there, then I'll throw the graphs up. And while I'm doing all this, I honestly, you're just punching numbers a lot of times. You're not even looking really at the data. So half the time I literally don't even know what, I haven't really broken in and analyzed the results. I'm just trying to pretty much put it in a format that we can then video and talk about. At that point, I usually stop. Okay. Typically by that point, we still need to do Tuesday's video first. Or I shouldn't really say Tuesday's video first. I say we need to finish whatever's left that we haven't gotten to for Tuesday's video, right? By this point, all the modeling's already done for Tuesday's video. The main stuff's done, but we still need to go and edit it, maybe film, the back portion or an intro portion or something. We need to form our preview that we put out to everybody, and all of that. So by the time the Sunday ends, say 5, 6 o'clock, that the whole day has been gone, and it's just been getting Tuesday's video worked up and the raw data built in Excel for Friday. Okay, so then Monday rolls around. I of course work. I can edit while I'm at work a lot of times some of the content. I usually finish the preview if I can. And again, I'm at like work, so it's not like I can do it perfectly. Sometimes perfectly well. So if you catch a little spelling error or something, that's why. It's not because I don't know how to fucking spell, you know. Though I do struggle with spelling. And then I come home Monday night and I finish Tuesday's video. Sometimes if I can't finish the editing of it, or at least I should say I finished filming whatever I need to film, I might then finish editing literally Tuesday morning, upload it to YouTube, which then goes to the Patreon, do whatever we need to do for the preview portion, and put all that out, added. Once it's on the Patreon, we got to add everything to the master post and get that right. And now we've got one video done. And now that we've got that one video done, we can film the intro for Friday's video. Because a lot of times what I like to go over the master post, show you guys where Tuesday's video is, show you that we've done it or whatnot. And then from there, that's from like Wednesday night is typically when I'm finally getting to look at the data from Sunday. And that's when I typically film our full conclusion. And then Thursday during the day, I edit all of that. Thursday night, I then finally apply like all the shooting and the conclusion portion to the intro and edit all of that and have a final product. And then I try to work on the preview video for Friday's video at the same time and get that all done. I then try to get the graphics done for all the thumbnails. I try to then get the live stream thumbnail done. And then I try to get the live stream built for Friday all done and load it all up to the internet. So a lot of time, so there's it all. It's amazing how much an hour and a half worth of actual content in a week takes to do it all. And I'm not exactly the best, fucking editor, videographer or whatever. But I have tried to make it better. We just got our follow me thing. That was really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I got to figure out how to incorporate it more. I'm not sure if you guys like me editing out the movements around or not. Like when I go to put a can on, I speed it up. I want you guys to be able to see things. I want it to be as transparent as possible. So Alex would like to say that he's digging the B team content. So speaking of the B team, we were talking about this week. I don't know if you guys want more B team content as far as like Tyler brought it up. He's like, maybe people would like, stickers and shit of that nature. So we might throw some B team stuff together. A lot of people have been asking me about these shirts. I might do some shirts and stuff for you guys, maybe some patches or something, and kind of bring some of that stuff back to the community. We'll see. Taxes kind of wiped me out this year, so it's been hard to kind of start something else as well as keep everything going. We've added a couple hosts. We've done a bunch of recores. We've done a bunch of Form 4s, all those stamps as well. So we've had to SBR a few things. So it's been a very expensive year so far. Fall and spring metering is the best. Summertime sucks. Virginia's humidity. You're sweating as soon as you step outside, no matter what time you're out. Yeah, humidity is another thing. So let's talk about humidity and metering real quick. This is exactly why we use the control can. Why we shoot everything versus our control can. The same can, week in, week out, is because then we can look at the differences between those two cans. And that's what takes out our humidity and our temperature variables, right? So for instance, this last weekend, since it's monsoon season, it's been raining here, pretty much at least once a day, every day. Our humidity is much higher than it normally is versus even a week ago. So a week ago, I noticed the data because I shot, the LN last week, and then we shoot it every weekend. And that's the other thing about shooting a control can. Every single week we shoot that can and meter that can. And it really lets you kind of see patterns with everything. So something I noticed, this time around was just how much the humidity does affect things, So everyone, I don't know if you know this, but the microphone on the meter, it's a little tiny piece, okay? And just like a drum, right? A drum you hit, it's a small little film of metal. It's a diaphragm, okay? And as that diaphragm, just like a drum, vibrates from the pressure waves, okay? All we're really doing is measuring pressure. And as that pressure interacts with that drum, right, at a frequency, it's turning that into an electrical signal. And by voltage, that is what's happening. That's what's it's turning it into voltages basically, and they're constantly varying, right? So that then gets turned into pressure. So the point here is that think of a little tiny wafer of metal, okay, very very thin, paper, thinner than paper. What do you think is going to happen to even the most amazing high-tech mics possible, right? They're all made out of metal, right? I'm talking just super sensitive. So a temperature change, humidity change, is going to have an effect on that metal. Temperature is going to expand and contract that metal, make it more or less sensitive. How much, though, is the point. For the most part, it's not too much, especially when we get into the higher end, lab grade stuff. Now, humidity, on the other hand, what does that do? That's going to make the air around us, the ambient conditions, it's more dense. There's water molecules in the air and stuff. So as that sound wave tries to, move through the air, it's going to be deadened some. Okay. So it's very interesting to see how the LN can this last Sunday, with the humidity around 49-ish%, the temperature was about 82-ish, 81-ish degrees. Everything came out on the LN about 1.5 dB quieter, as much as 2 on some shots, than what we typically have been seeing week in and week out. On 556, it was about 0.9-ish. Week before's conditions were about 15% humidity and about 88-ish by the time we were metering. So the temperature, not too big of a difference, but just that humidity had a decent little effect. So again, that is why we use the control can, because regardless of that effect, when we're measuring two things against each other, we can figure out that difference and then compare it week in and week out. It's still not 1,000% perfect, but it then gets us to where we can then go test two things off of the rank back to back and then have a definitive answer on it. So without your guys, we've got a system now that just works really, really well. Probably the best anyone, at least that I'm aware of. And that's where a lot of the 2209 problems come in at. People have used the 2209s and they've gotten all these weird results, mixed results, and really it comes down to the procedures and the conditions outside and just controlling all the variables as much as possible. But the biggest thing is how you look at the data. If all you're going to do is measure and take averages and then look at those averages, you're never going to get anywhere. Not on a 2209. Even with the pulse, it doesn't work that way. We still have to bang out and look at our 5 shots and where they're at. We're still probably going to, on the DEC side, going to be adding a control can like I do. That's something I'm changing about how they have been doing things to date, even though it has worked. And then now at this point, we're pretty much cracked the code on basically being able to do what Pew Science does, but we're not trying to compete with them. We're just trying to use it as much as possible for our own research and development. So we'll see, though. We'll see as we get more and more comfortable with it. Things could change. I do want to be able to do it with you guys as well, with the cans we do on the channel as well. So this next 12 months should be very, very interesting. Third access, very interesting. Oh, you're talking about the Putnik. Yeah. It's going to be different the way they did it than, like I said earlier, there's 3 axes technically on like the Huxworks can, right? Well, that's true. It's only pulling gas from one spot, though, right? Where the Putnik, on the other hand, is different. It's going to be pulling from multiple places. And that's not by any means new either. There's a lot of stuff out there that, unfortunately, on the commercial side or the public side, like I guess you would call it, we just haven't had access to as consumers. There are some companies who strictly do some very high-tech stuff in suppressor land, but it's all on the research side for the military and things of that nature. And the military doesn't even use 90% of it, but they're starting to. That and some of it gets classified, unfortunately. Is a PCC can on the radar for DDC? I want it to be, but I don't think it'll be anytime soon. That could change. We'll see. We've got to scale up the existing line first. Here's the dirty truth about pistol cans. And Tyler learned this out the hard way. Unfortunately, pistol caliber suppressors don't sell nearly the volumes that rifle cans do. So if you're a company just getting started, you need a solid first can. And that solid first can is what's going to allow you to get enough revenue coming in to pay for your machine equipment, pay for your rent, pay for your, all your overhead, to then allow you to make the next can and the next can and the can after that, buy the next machine to scale up, whatever. Especially if you're trying to keep manufacturing all in-house. So unless you're a really big company already, pistol cans tend to have fairly low sales. And by fairly low, I mean, we're talking, even if you sell 1,000 cans, that doesn't necessarily mean you're bringing in enough revenue to do. So for anyone out there looking to start a suppressor company, I would say my biggest advice to you is don't start with a pistol product. Tyler found out the hard way. Now, luckily, he dug in. His product spoke for itself. That's the biggest difference. His product is actually doing something above and beyond what everyone else's is doing. And that's what's finally, and the information of that is finally kind of getting out there. So those sales are now, they're coming, and now they can focus on other stuff as well. So, I mean, we want to build everything, just like any company does, right? It's just going to take time. I'd really like to do a big bore can for you guys and your big bore stuff, and I'd really like to do a Magnum can. So in a perfect world, I'd like to do a dedicated 308 semi and full automatic can. I think Resilient might end up doing one though. But that's an area where all you really have to date is some OSS stuff, some Surefire stuff. And then now you can probably consider the Helios an option for that, as well as the Anthem S. So there's still some room there. I would really also like to do some more reflex stuff, especially now that Andrew's done a lot of the hard work for everyone, and done all the mounting, and updated the way that, you know, those types of cans can mount to your rifle. You know, we could do a reflex that says, you know, that uses, let's say, Otter Creek Labs reflex adapters, right? Over the barrel reflex adapters. So I think that would be cool. But like anything, it just takes time. We don't want to just throw something together and put it out there, you know. So we'll see. It all takes time. Like everything in life, right? Anything that's good in life takes time. And now that you know, Pew Science has made such a name for itself, we're seeing the community shift more and more to this, you know, we'll only buy what Pew Science has tested type thing, which I get, because the community has been lied to for so many years about so many different suppressors. So I mean, it's good in a lot of ways. The bad side of that, though, is, you know, it's extremely expensive, because they currently have, at least, okay, they don't technically have a monopoly, but from the public side, they have a monopoly. And the other thing is it's basically a one-man band, just Jay. Just like for me, I'm more or less a one-man band, though there are people who help with things, for sure. But also, like me, you know, Jay has a full-time job, so it's not his only thing he can dedicate his time to. So therefore, you know, it takes a long time from the time you approach to get a review to the time you actually get a review. And there's some other things, but that's as much as I'm going to say. I want to change that in a little bit of ways. I've been trying to change that by putting honest, you know, Form 4 information out there. I'm probably going to try to put more and more out there for free as well, though I run into problems with that a lot of times, because if you haven't accessed some other prior content, it starts to not make sense for some people. So it's just difficult. It's difficult to balance it all. Like, you know, I don't charge companies for reviews. Pew Science, on the other hand, charges companies for reviews. So while they're a peer publicly funded company, you know, the bulk of it is going to be from the very companies that they're testing. Or for me, it all is by either my own personal money and or the money from your memberships, right? And that's how we're able to do what we do, you know. And then there, you know, it's just help via friends and things of that nature. Not financially, but I mean, like, you know, can I borrow this, or can I get your help on this, or whatever, you know what I mean? So a tucked reflex can, now I'm hard as rock. Go tell Ryan that. He's on board with it, but he's not fully on board with it. I'm like, bro, let's do a fucking reflex 30 cal can before we put out the 5.56 can. That's what I want to do. I mean, now with the OSS can that just came, or the Huxworks can that just came out, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of time for everyone to kind of calm down a little bit before we drop another new can. I would rather do something that really all there is pretty much AB suppressors, and their can isn't really, like, it's good but not great. You know, like, we could easily take, I think, the Enticer, make some mods to it, turn it into a reflex platform, and fucking kill it in a reasonable amount of time. And, you know, I'm not 100% sure how large the market is for that. So if there is truly interest, we'd love to hear about it. I feel like reflex has been underutilized, and I don't think it's because like people don't want them. I think it's partially they don't understand how to mount it to their gun, and then they don't understand that it exists, and they don't always probably understand the benefits of it. You know, so if we can get easier to use, get the word out about performance, you know, I think the sales would come, right? I'm not huge on tucking cans though. Cans get hot, handguards then get hot, and but everyone I get like I mean I get why it looks fucking cool. Reflex would be good. Nice to keep those overall lengths down, especially on a hunting rig. So that's my thoughts exactly. You know, not only can you have something on a semi-auto or whatever um, that's really going to benefit from that reflex volume, but you can go and you can put it on your hunting gun and you can keep that OAL down, right? Because who wants to carry typically your hunting rifles already, this is a generalization, but you know, for a lot of people, they're shooting what 20+ inch barrels, okay, on that kind of stuff. So going and sticking what has become quite popular right now, L-size cans that are just getting bigger and bigger. I mean, the Hyperion's at 9.5 inches. Okay, that's fucking crazy long. All right, and we have to remember that when we go look at the data on it. Like, okay, it's great and all, but it's also really freaking long. So, you know, if we can get away with a 6.5, 7 inch suppressor plus a reflex area and have it be fucking putting out numbers of either L good or better, I mean, what hunter would not want that? I love eccentric designs. Well, I don't know why. I mean, they're cool. They look cool. I mean, you're very challenged with an eccentric design. First, you have to have it be able to mount to the pistol or the rifle and timed, you know, in the vertical position. Okay? So that enters in a host of fucking issues. Alright? Then you have to be able to come up with a baffle design that's going to make proper use of those eccentric area, you know, that extra area below the bore. And typically that ends up turning into a monocore, which then will limit some of and negate some of those benefits of that extra volume you got in the first place. I have a couple ideas for some eccentric designs where that would use normal conical cones and then do some sort of coaxial type stuff. But that kind of stuff's very hard to mass produce. You know, not impossible, of course. I just got the most interesting fucking question. I think it's funny too that some of you guys are commenting in this live stream, but then texting me as well. By the way, Andrew says you're all gay. Big bold fucking letters. Every one of you is gay. That is Andrew for you. Thanks for those commitments of 2 videos a week. And this week was super busy. Awesome job. Yeah, man, we did a lot this week. This week fucking killed me. Trying to put out 4 videos this week was just... We did it. But it was a little too much. So, it's just... I want to do more live. Like, it's much easier to do the live stuff when I have something quick for you guys, because then there's no editing and all of that, right? So if we can sit down, I've been thinking about, by the way, doing the tabletop portions of our videos as live streams, which then people can go back and watch later, of course, where we're doing it all right there. Okay, you know, today we're going to do a tabletop video of, I don't know, the Mod 9. Okay, let's take it apart. Here it is. You guys can literally ask your questions right then and there. And we can kind of, as a group, mold how we want the video to be, you know. Then we can move into our AutoCAD and we can look at, you know, the modeling and all of that. So I've been testing out more and more ways of interacting and making the content better. I feel like we've made some pretty big inroads this year, but you just never know. Feedback is the best way to know. So, Eric Yonke says, that's not news. And then he says, in regards to being gay. I'm going to text that to Andrew right now for you. Here we go. There. It'll show that's not news in regards to being gay. You know, from Eric Yonke. Yeah, Andrew's something special, man. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to his little feud with CGS Group and Joe Godini. I don't even know what to say about it. Andrew, when he gets his mind around like messing with someone, he goes to town with messing with them, you know. And personally, from what I understand, I mean, CGS kind of threw the first shot over the bow a little bit, you know. The funny thing about all of this is, in the end, you watch it in a week, 2 weeks, or a month from now, they'll fucking all be best friends, you know. And it'll all be good. So a lot of people, like Andrew, will piss people off, and then they'll text me and be like, why the fuck is it like I'm his fucking keeper, or like because I'm friends with him I have to agree with, you know, when he pisses people off. And it's like, I don't know, man, I'm used to it. Like, I'm used to him being a fucking weirdo. Like, it just is what it is, you know. Speaking of that, his trailer, actually I shouldn't say his trailer, his tree next to his trailer got struck by lightning this week. Very scary, actually. I think 20 homes total got struck by lightning this week in his area. And what happened was we were all talking, and a lightning bolt came, hit the tree right next to the window. It arced over into the trailer, surged the whole house. He had his phone in his hand because he was talking to us with the cord connected, right? So it shocked him, and he dropped the phone. Thank God it hit the tree and not the house, because it only ended up damaging some lights. It didn't take out any appliances or anything like that. A bunch of lights got blown out, but pretty scary nonetheless. You know, there's actually a high risk of fire. I was Googling it after that because I was very curious. And there's something like 25,000 people who die in a year from lightning strikes. And there's something fucking ginormous about houses that get damaged in a year just from lightning strikes. I mean, I've seen lightning strikes, but I didn't realize the frequency that they hit houses. I guess it makes sense and all, but... And then you can even have a house catch on fire hours after, because the lightning strike will get into the insulation, and the insulation will sit there and smolder. So, pretty interesting. Clint would like to tell me I shouldn't worry about editing. We tap our fast forward 10-second buttons when we want. Well, everyone's different, Clint. I wish everyone had different standards. Some people are very, very fucking on my ass about things sometimes. Like, oh my god, that wasn't like fucking movie editor quality, or, you know, like all kinds of stuff. Oh my god, you've left out one letter in a word, or, you know, it is what it is. Some people are just very like, I'm more focused on if the data's good, not so much anything else. Like how pretty a graph is, or if the editing cut transitions perfectly or whatever. I'm trying to be more attentive to those types of things. I absolutely am. Hopefully you all have noticed that. But and I've been trying to different editing techniques. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the video today. I put some shooting in the very beginning, and then we transitioned to our intro, and then we transitioned, to talking about what we were doing today. So I'm trying to pick up little things here and there, and put a little bit even, more effort in, I want the videos to be as interesting as possible. I really want to know if you guys even like having the shooting portions in there anymore. So if you've been with me for 2 years, you'll know that the whole reason the shooting portions are in there, instead of just looking at the data, is because there were people who would say, fucking, they would doubt the data if they couldn't see it with their own eyes being done, especially unedited or unclipped or whatever. Luckily, we've gotten away from a lot of that finally. But, people have been lied to for so long that I completely get it. So a lot of people might wonder why my video isn't shorter or whatever. And it's all about that. It's about like trying to be as transparent as possible. So you literally see where we started from and how we got from A to B, and gain trust, I guess, so. So there you go. I had a dude message me 2 years after a video was published to complain about blinking too much. I believe it. Totally believe it. So this week, we did the Huxworks 556K. Okay? That was spur of the moment, right? Like, the peer review came out, okay? During the day. I'm at work. I knew a review was coming out because Jay had said a big review was coming out, but he wouldn't fucking tell me who or where, and he wouldn't tell anyone else, which, good on him. He's not supposed to, and he shouldn't. He has agreements with all of us, company-wise, and everyone else, and there's already too many leaks in the, out there in the world as it is. So good for him not to tell us. But anyway, we knew it would be data that would be a little bit on the, surprising side. Okay. I had no idea it was going to be the Huxworks can. No clue at all. Okay, and I don't think really anyone else did. I was assuming a new CGS 556 can, or what else did we talk about? We were thinking, I forget. But anyway, the point is that I hop on the live stream because I have all this privileged information. I wouldn't say all this. I have some privileged information, some cutaway, stuff, some X-ray stuff of that new can. Okay. Now, OSS has not gotten bought out. I fucked that detail up. That's my bad. I can't remember I was thinking of Energetic Armament getting bought out, but whatever. So I said something to the attune in a live stream, right? So it's not like it was like this big planned out edited video over weeks, right? I said something to the attune of, OSS got bought out by Huxworks, and now there are Huxworks. And then in my title of the video, I put Huxworks 556K can, like images no one else has, or something like this. So I then do my video preview, because again, this video is for the Patreon members only, because it's got data or information that literally you're not going to find anywhere else. So I do a preview so people can know what it is that's out there, what's been done, and if they want it, go join and be a part of the community. So on Reddit, Jay had posted that Pew Science review of the Huxworks can. So I posted my preview just in a comment. And someone fucking latched onto that shit with a vengeance, like to the point of, what do they say? Like, you need to specify what can this really is. You put Huxworks 556K, but that's very confusing, and that's disingenuous or something along those lines. And it's like, huh? Like, literally, if you Google right now Huxworks 556K can, it's going to bring up that can, okay? Well, there's a 556K can, the QD, the QDHX 556K. And I'm like, bro, that just proves my point, right? Like, that can is the QDHX 556K, not the Huxworks 556K. So I left the word flow out, right? I get flow is in their name, but I feel like flow is kind of disingenuous. It makes it seem like they own flow technology, which they don't. There's been flow cans literally since like 1917 that I can think of, okay? So I don't really like using it because it's kind of a misnomer, right? So I've left the word flow out. That's literally all I did. I left the word flow out. And this guy made a giant fucking deal about the fact that I left the word flow out, and that therefore, people get confused on what this can is, and it was disingenuous, and that, for someone who reviews cans for a living, the content can't possibly be good if I'm leaving out these kind of small details. And, like, I get it. Some people are really fucking zoned in onto that type of stuff. Totally get it. And then he started to try to tell me about flow technology, and it was clear he had no idea who he was or who I was. Not to say that I'm anyone fucking special either, but it was also very clear, of course, that he hadn't watched the video, which literally went over all this because we went on the website, we pulled up the can, we pulled. Whew! So I go back and forth with this guy a few fucking times, and I finally realized, like, I'm not getting anywhere. But I get my feelings kind of very hurt a little bit too easy for someone who does YouTube fucking videos for a living. I wouldn't say for a living because I technically have a day job, but your guys' comments, even if it's someone I don't even know, they hurt sometimes, but my point is like, a small little thing like that doesn't have to be a big deal to me, at least. For some people, it is a big deal, if I spell one word wrong somewhere, which happens quite frequently, it's typically because I'm literally at work and I'm having to try to get this post up on the Instagram or on the Facebook, or I've got the video uploaded for, say, today on our YouTube, but I haven't written the paragraph that, goes into everything. And I try to proofread it and everything. I do, even closer than I used to, but, yeah, everyone's different, I guess. And some people when you do make a small mistake like that, which in my case with the Huxworks 556K, I don't consider it a mistake because I literally purposely did it, leaving the word flow out. So I even went back and put, just to kind of fuck with the guy, which maybe was petty for me, but I went to the bottom of the title and, I changed the entire title. And I was like, not the QDHX 556K, like, okay, there you go, you win, I don't know. So. Lightning seeks out the gays. I'm going to be telling him that. False. I would have been struck many years ago. You guys cracked me up. Rusty says his procedures and data are the only way. JK. Yeah, I don't even know if Rusty's still alive. It's kind of funny. I was thinking about this week actually in the Rusty thing. I don't know, Clint, you might know this, but Rusty went and quoted. He was trying to say that 5.56 bores are totally unnecessary. Everything should have a 30 cal bore, which, I mean, I kind of agree to a point. Unless you're building a dedicated 5.56 can, then I'm not going to agree. But he went as far as to post up a thing quoting Josh Parker from CGS Group about the Helios, and how the Helios has a 30 cal bore because 30 cal bore is better because 5.56 bores are bad. Well, then the Pew Science data comes out on it, right? And Helios doesn't do as well as I think many thought it would do on 556. It does well, it just doesn't do as well as they thought. Part of that's going to be because of the fact that the QD is going to have the blast chamber a little bit more blast chamber, so we're going to have not quite as much pressure getting in that coaxial area. The second part of that is going to be the fact that they've got a 30 cal bore, so therefore they're not going to have as much restriction, so therefore the coaxial area isn't going to get as much use. They've even gone so far as to make a new mount with a long stem to try to keep that jet longer in deeper into the can to better utilize the coaxial area. So now you're finding that they're on something like version 9 of a prototype 556 can, which I guarantee you is going to have a 556 size bore, maybe a 6mm bore. So it just kind of contradicts everything. So the point of all of this is like Rusty is a very interesting guy, but we all make mistakes, or not even mistakes. Like maybe that's not technically a mistake, but we all say things, and it's okay for our opinions to change, especially when data comes out that changes our opinions. Like if I get rid of a video that's older, it's typically going to be because literally the information, I don't necessarily want to present it that way anymore, Same kind of thing. Remember, everyone, we're entering a 5.56 renaissance. I mean, I totally sort of agree with that, actually. I don't know that I'd call it a renaissance because there's actually a lot of already multi-chambered coaxial stuff out there. A lot of it is heavily patented. It's just not commercially available to everyone. So as we see some of that now come out to the market, I guess we call that a renaissance, as we actually do get to have better 556 cans. Again, 556 is incredibly hard to handle when we're talking about semi-automatics, fully automatics especially. So, yeah, I am very happy there are more 556 cans coming out, because for a long time there really hasn't been much in the way of 556 that's come out, and most that has come out has been pretty much dog shit. We kind of kicked off this year with the rugged can and totally lackluster, and then now at least we then got the Otter Creek Labs Polonium, so that kind of spurred on some whatever. Now I don't know how, I think it kind of got a little bit overdone, blown up, because you guys really need to start like analyzing the data better. Forget all about the composite numbers. Look at muzzle and ear. Okay, auditory risk at the muzzle, auditory risk at ear. Much more important. All right, well, I think we're all caught up on questions. We've been going for about 2 hours, so for a live stream that I wasn't actually had a ton planned out for, I think we did pretty good. I did want to give a shout out to someone who sent me a couple weeks back some lubricants with PTFE in them. Shit tends to be a little bit expensive when it's got PTFE in it. So I've been looking for something and testing a few different greases and such for booster pistons and things of that nature. So far I'm really liking this AccuLube. So it seems to be holding up to the heat pretty well, actually. And it seems like it's got, here, I won't use big words. It's tacky enough that it seems to really stick on the metal, okay? And not just get all wiped off like with white lithium grease would. So. All right, guys. Well, only other thing I can think of is that Hopefully we have our 12.5-inch mid gas gun done here soon. Just waiting on the barrel. Andy at Jag Composites is a dealer for Faxon, so he special ordered me a barrel, and I actually paid for it today, and he mailed it out today, so hopefully I have that soon. With the whole freaking assault weapon ban bullshit going on, I didn't really want to spend the money, but I went ahead and stocked up on some stuff, so waiting on all of that. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, cross your fucking fingers. That would be really, really bad. And that really highlights why I've never quit my job and focused just on the Patreon. Why Jay refuses to quit his job. Why so many people refuse to quit their job and just focus on their firearm industry careers. Because unfortunately, you've got a fucking government that could take it all away in a heartbeat. And we all got houses that we got to pay mortgages on and car payments like everyone in this chat does. So appreciate all of you guys. We might try to do, I don't know if you guys saw, but last Sunday, while I was out at the range, I did a quick little live stream, an impromptu live stream. I just did it on Instagram. So Sunday mornings, my time, of course, sometime again between like 6-ish a.m. and let's say 10 to 11 a.m. Phoenix, Arizona time, I might continue to do random little impromptu live streams while I'm at the range. You know, check this out, we'll shoot this, you know, that type of thing. So be on the lookout for those on Sundays. All right, guys. Well, thanks for a great week. We got a lot done this week. I appreciate all of you, and get the word out there that we're still making good freaking content. We'll see where the venting stuff takes us from here, and we'll see you all later.